Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of 5 Minute Gaming News, the show that may or may not be 5 minutes. Today in the news, now that the Activision Blizzard acquisition by Microsoft has gone through, everyone in the industry is looking at Sony wondering what they're going to do, or more importantly, what they'll acquire. According to an interview with GamesIndustry.biz, Kantan Games CEO Dr. Serkan Toto shared, Sony surely is under pressure to react, even after their Bungie acquisition. I expect further investments and acquisitions for PlayStation, including a large one that would move the needle for them in a meaningful way. And as mentioned, Sony Interactive Entertainment's largest acquisition to date has been Bungie, which they purchased for $3.7 billion back in 2022. But in regards to what Sony's next big needle-moving studio acquisition might be, Media sounds better. Research's senior games analyst, Carol Severin, said he thought it was likely Sony would respond by buying a leading third-party publisher on the scale of Rockstar owner Take-Two, which has a market capitalization of around $24.6 billion. Now, why Take-Two was mentioned is thanks to a rumor from earlier this year suggesting that Sony was eyeing the publisher in order to match Microsoft's purchase of Activision Blizzard. That whole thing appeared and still appears to be wild speculation and probably is not gonna happen. Severin suggests that perhaps they'll do some sort of cross-entertainment subscription service. Sony has one of the most impressive content catalogs on Earth, Severin said. Bringing it together in a subscription offering, for example, could pose a solid competitive answer to Xbox's cross-platform efforts. So I guess the idea here is that Sony would offer not just games, but music and TV shows and movies and stuff on this one streaming platform that then would come through your PlayStation? I don't know. It feels like one of those, we're media analysts and we just thought something up and it really doesn't make much sense logically. You know what I mean? I don't know how many people who are really excited to listen to music through their PlayStation. You know what I mean? That doesn't really offer that much. And Sony's catalog is so spread out all over all these other services that to consolidate them would take a lot of work. Plus, Sony really has said multiple times they aren't out there trying to compete with Game Pass. They think Game Pass isn't that great. In fact, they're like, it hurts us. I don't think I would expect any of that. I think Sony is relying on the fact that they can keep making big games. And hopefully those big games will keep them going against a company like Microsoft, who, while they have all these studios, is still kind of floundering. They're releasing huge titles that people are like, these aren't that great. Meanwhile, Sony is dropping things like Spider-Man. Speaking of Spider-Man, look at these segues. Insomniac says if you're looking to pick up the physical copy of the game, wait for the patch before you install. According to the developer's post on social media, the disc contains the entire game and is playable from start to finish with no patch or online requirement. Insomniac's statement reads, but for the best experience, we highly encourage physical disc-based players to download update version 1.001002 on launch day, prior to experiencing the opening mission of the game for the first time. Digital players, don't worry. If you preload the digital version of the game, you'll get 1.001002 as your preloaded version. Insomniac went on to further explain that the update adds pre-launch polish to the Gold Master Disc version of the game and will improve opening sections, general refinements, and even some additional accessibility options. But I gotta just say, seeing that text image on Twitter got me for a minute. I was like, uh-oh, is this another one of those launch day things? Because we've had a lot of those this year. Thankfully, it's not some sort of world-ending bug or massive delay, and it's just a pre-launch update, and everything should be fine, so for all of you who are like me, who are very excited for this game, smooth sailing. And it looks like we have things to be excited for because the reviews are pretty positive. The embargo lifted Monday. Spider-Man 2 currently sits at a 90 on Metacritic based on 129 reviews, which puts it just 1 point behind Spyro Year of the Dragon and Ratchet & Clank Up Your Arsenal. In comparison, the first Spider-Man, which was originally released on PS4 in 2018, and its spin-off, Spider-Man Miles Morales, which debuted for PS4 and PS5 in 2020, have Metacritic scores of 87 and 85 respectively. And I loved the first Spider-Man game. That final boss fight was, oh my god, I love that thing. I haven't played Miles Morales yet. I need to do that before I play 2, but it's on the list. I'm ready to go. My biggest problem now is finding the time to play it. But hey, congrats to everyone who's been receiving their Spider-Man 2 collector's editions over the last few days. I hope that 19 inches of venom was worth the investment. Anyway, that is it for the news. Thank you again for everyone on patreon.com/Jesse Cox. Your support is what makes this show work. It's why this channel even runs, why I can afford to pay the entire team that helps me do it. Thank you so much, and I'll see you tomorrow for another episode of 5 Minute Gaming News.